Okay, we're here in Alamogordo, New Mexico, doing an elevation certificate of a home in downtown Alamogordo. Elevation certificates vary based on where they are. If they're out in the county, they're probably going to be in a zone A with an undetermined elevation. But here we're in zone AH, which means we have known elevations for the flow of water in a flood event. So in this case, what we're going to do is we need to know what the elevation of the finished floor is. So these measurements need to be plus or minus 1/10 of a foot by federal guidelines. So that's about this much in distance. That's how accurate the shots need to be. So, for example here, this house we've already done an interior inspection on. I'm just showing you the basics. Finished floor on this home is about at the height of this jamb. Now with GPS you can't get right there, so I'm going to get as close as I can. And I'm going to call this TC for top of concrete. So when I take this shot, I'm going to add about the 2 inches that are there to it. So I just say TC, and then I go plus 2 inches, which would be 0.17 feet, okay? And then I put TO, so the letter T, letter O, FF, which means finished floor. And I go ahead and take my shot right there. Now that's saved in the description, so I know that this shot plus that 2 inches will give me more or less within that 1/10 of a foot the finished floor. Now, as I look at the house, the other thing that FEMA wants is they want the lowest adjacent grade and the highest adjacent grade. So that means the elevations next to the house. If I look at this house, come over here, I can see that it's built up on what we call a stem wall, which means that those cinder blocks there are holding up the dirt that's held inside, and then there's a cap poured on top of that of concrete. And you need to know enough about construction when you're doing an elevation certificate to determine what kind of house it is. If it's pure on beam, you know, like a raised floor with a crawl space underneath it, whether it's on stilts with skirting around it like a trailer home would be, or whether it's like a slab on grade like this is, which they use stem walls around the side, but this is still slab on grade because there's dirt underneath the slab. There is no crawl space on this. So what I want to do is go around all the corners of the house, and I want to take shots on it. And these don't have to be anything perfect. If this house was obviously built up on like a pad that was elevated higher than everything else around it, I'd want to take these shots at the base of the pad as long as they're not more than about 15 feet away from the structure. So I just call these NG for natural ground. I don't know which one is the highest or the lowest yet, but I'll know when I bring the data back into the computer and look at it. I can tell this one right here is probably going to be higher. And I don't want to get, it's on a mound right here. You kind of want to reflect what the actual elevation of the dirt is doing. So if there's an obvious mound, don't get on it and shoot it. Now, I'm over here at this end. This end is going to be TC plus about 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch in feet is 0.04. So I'm going to do TC plus 0.04. And then again, TOFF, so 2 finished floor, take that shot. Okay. Now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to call this an adjacent grade as well. There's another one. And this looks like it's significantly lower than it is up there, so I'm going to shoot it here because we want to give a good representation of what's going on here. Now, I'm going to take one last, I'm going to leave my GPS here. I'm going to take one last physical inspection. We can see they're using, they've got a dryer here. They've got a air conditioner on that window over there. One of the questions they're going to ask you is, what's the lowest elevated machinery that services the home? So this looks like it was an addition, and they had put a vent in there for some reason. But there do appear to be vents on this back side. This is This is home on a stem wall.
It's the wrong grade, dude.
Huh? Oh. Oh, like this. There we go. Okay. Okay. So this isn't a slab on grade. So this is good that we came back around to look. Another reason I can tell it's not slab on grade is because of where this gas line goes in. It's going in under the floor and probably comes up. There's probably wood floors in here. So I have finished floor on it, which is important, but since it's slab on grade and it has vents and these aren't permanent flood openings, more than likely what's going to be used as the elevation for this is the bottom of the beam inside the home. I'll have to read through the notes, but we'll continue that at the office.